How's it going? I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round, and it is a busy week for new trailers. We've got Comic Con at home happening, so I'm here to bring you yet another trailer reaction, this time for Kevin Smith's newest horror movie, Killroy Was Here. But alas, as much as I am a horror fan, I am not the biggest Kevin Smith fan that I know. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, but I know someone else who's an even bigger fan than I am. My brother Chris, if you're familiar, he runs Dork Daily. It's kind of like what we do, but less focused on horror, more, Marvel, sci-fi, fantasy, you name it. So let's talk to Chris. Chris, how's it going?
It's going great, man. It's another lovely evening of quarantine.
How's it been?
It's been okay. It's been I think I've played more video games in recent days than I've played in my entire life. So
That's good to hear. I was always kind of a creepy loner, so having all this time to watch horror movies has actually been better for my mental health.
wow. Well, that I'm glad it's
Which
working out for you.
which brings us to this week. So Comic-Con at home is kind of a weird phenomenon. I know we were talking a little bit before about it. I think it's really cool that all this stuff is available like for free on the internet as it happens, and that never was the case before.
That is every Kazaa kid's dream from like 25 years ago.
Yeah. So, obviously we got a lot of trailers coming out, a lot of horror trailers. And I thought for this one, I kind of had to bring you into this. I know that, we kind of have a very interesting history with, yes, there is your Silent Bob in action figure, I believe they
An
were
action
called.
figure. What film?
Dogma, when
Dogma.
he
Yeah.
he kills Azrael with the Cardinal Glick's blessed golf club.
Yeah, arguably maybe his first foray into maybe I would say maybe flirted with horror
A
in
little
that
bit. You've
a
got
little bit.
demons. You've got the Golgothan monster, and then he
Mhm.
kind of goes full on into horror with stuff like Red State, which still is one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen. And then he kind of went down, shall we say, interesting rabbit hole, or shall we say, walrus hole, with Tusk.
Well, to Kevin's credit, I think I love that he went outside the box after the VS universe closed. I guess officially for the second time after Clerks 2. So
Mm-hmm.
he's just Kevin's kind of guy that he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna make whatever art's in my head and I'm just gonna do it because I just love making films. So I've always really respected that about him, and we've gotten some really entertaining things out of his mind.
I would
Last
agree.
year.
I don't think he gets enough credit, perhaps
Mhm.
in the horror community, but he's brought between Red State, between Tusk, Yoga Hosers, which again we went to the New Jersey premiere of it with Kevin present.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That
I was
was a fun experience.
well, that was the first time that we got to watch a new Kevin Smith film with Kevin Smith, and that
Hmm.
was just a radically cool experience. And then, of course, we got to do that again last year with Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
I'm almost going to be disappointed now if we don't get to watch this new movie with him in the room, because like we've
I
set
think he'll
ourselves up, like that's the expectation now.
Right. Well, it seemed like that's the direction he was headed in with his upcoming films, but with everything going on, I mean, this could very possibly be a home release. I have to tell you, I am one of the biggest Kevin Smith fans I know. I had no idea about this film until you mentioned it to me today.
Yeah, so I'm more kind of in line with horror news, and this came on, to my feed not through like a Kevin Smith source, but from a horror source. Like, oh, Kevin Smith's doing another horror movie, and like I said, I don't think he gets enough credit. And he did it's allegedly, from what I read, it's a horror anthology. It's not the first horror anthology he's participated in. There's this really weird, bizarre film called Holidays. It's like a collection of short films, horror shorts based around different holidays. And Kevin Smith directed the Halloween one, which of course starred Harley Quinn. So, like I said, I don't know much about this. I know that you didn't know about this until I brought it up to you earlier today.
Well, you brought it up to me today, and I'm like, wait a second, because when I was scrolling on Facebook this morning, I saw a screenshot of like this knife in this person's face. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is disturbing looking. So I think I just scrolled
that
past
disturbs
it.
you.
Yeah, I'm not a big horror person. I'm like, that is disgusting.
All right, so without further ado, let's check out Killroy Was Here.
From the studio that brought you Jay and Silent Bob reboots,
as well as Tusk and Yoga Hosers.
Blind the eyes that cannot see, make deaf the ears that cannot hear, close the mouth that cannot tell, and send the monster back to hell.
Back then, his name was Roy Huggins. When he was your age, he already had a taste for blood.
There's Harley. Vietnam?
What's happening? Nothing will stop Killroy if he wants to get you. Oh, God.
It was giving me a heart attack. I'm a middle-aged man who did shit and hubs floor cleaner all day.
He's dressed like Silent Bob.
This is Alicio.
That's awesome.
Hola, amigos. Me llamo Father Pat. Come on out.
The online donations have put us over the top.
It's going to take a lot more money for that heart transplant.
Killing boogeyman, that is just some superstitious bullshit.
I'll make a special sweet tea.
Come smoke.
There's Rick Harris.
You see that? The cater chaser did it again.
There's a lot of like creature monsters going on here. Oh.
Better get the mob.
So,
oh man.
I guess they're okay spoiling the fact that Harley dies by like machete to the face.
Gosh, it's like weird. I did not recognize her with a knife in her face as I was scrolling through Facebook.
It's kind of difficult to recognize people with a knife or machete to the face. Yeah. It's not a common occurrence you see, but that. First of all, I think it definitely has all the. Like, just based on this little snippet, it feels very much like what you would expect from, like, your typical, like, low-budget indie, B horror.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jason Mewes looks like he's probably the best part of it.
I think it looks legitimately scary, but also, like, funny, not taking yourself too seriously, sort of like a Shaun of the Dead type of thing.
Kind of. It definitely is going more the slasher route. So maybe like the Shaun of the Dead of slashers. It reminds me a bit. There was this really great anthology film on Shudder called Scare Package. It was like a horror comedy, but it was also satirizing horror.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that's what this will be. I mean, I was, and again, I'm not a horror person really, but this looked like it'd be a lot of fun to watch with a crowd.
If it only gets that home video release, we'll kind of lose that. Like I said,
yeah.
I mean, I was joking partly joking before, but I really do hope we get to see this with him.
Yeah.
And
I
I
do too.
wouldn't, if it means not getting to see this for like another year, I wouldn't mind waiting if it means getting that experience. And again, it's an anthology, so we're probably seeing, like, maybe Jay is only in one of the stories. Maybe Harley's only in one of the stories. Because it looked like we saw, like, some serial killer vibes. We saw some monsters. We saw, like, that alligator. So, I don't know what because some of them, there's, like, a central narrative going throughout to connect the stories. Other ones, it's just like, here's a story, here's a story, here's a story.
See, this looks like all one story to me. I mean, the way that the trailer was presented, it looks like this is a long, one long story. Maybe he has different chapters that are kind of interconnected, but
Maybe
I don't
that's
know.
what they
Great.
mean. Or maybe just calling something a horror anthology is kind of a buzzword right now. Horror fans really love these because, it's almost like, going to see a movie and getting multiple subgenres for the price of one, so to speak.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think back to when we saw Grindhouse. I love the experience. I just thought it was cool. Like, hey, we're getting 2 movies for the price of one, plus all this extra cool stuff. And I think, movies like Grindhouse and any type of anthology film, and it looks like even this film, it's all about kind of making the theatrical experience really special. I think you're not going to get the same sort of authentic feeling at home. You should watch it at home.
There
If
really
that's
is
the only way.
nothing quite like it.
Yeah. Great to see some Kevin Smith people in it.
I know you were recognizing more people than I was.
Well, there was, obviously Jason Mewes and Harley Quinn, but there was also Ralph Garman, who is Kevin's co-host on this podcast, as well as Ernie O'Donnell, who is famously known as Rick Darris from
Who
Clerks.
was he in there? I did not see him.
He was at the door. He was like on the far side of a door in one shot. I have been at events with him, so I know him immediately.
See, I only know him I haven't seen him recently, but it's just, it's interesting that, I know that, you and I kind of have a unique connection to some of Kevin Smith's people and associates. And it's really cool to see them, in these movies.
Yeah, it really is. And
so, are you? I'm torn. I know you're a bigger Kevin Smith fan than I am, but I'm torn between, am I more excited as a Kevin Smith fan or as a horror fan? And I love that he's getting really gory with it, which I love. Like, there was a lot of body parts being hacked, which apparently you find disturbing. I don't, but this is.
Oh yeah, because you have issues, but
this is what I'm used to.
But
I'm wearing a Saw shirt.
I like that. This felt very gutsy. Like I thought it is much bolder than, say, Tusk and Red State, where he's like, we're just going to go all out horror, but still have fun with it. Obviously, I'm more excited as a Kevin Smith fan, but I certainly appreciate being scared, in a theater seat. So I'm pretty psyched. I mean, I'm excited anytime a new Kevin Smith movie comes out. Probably because just, again, I'm so closely connected to that universe now. So it should be cool either way.
All right. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining me on this.
Of course.
Should there be any more news from this when this comes out, I will be calling again for us to, maybe we'll go see it together or something. So where can people find you?
dorkdaily.com, youtube.com/dorkdaily. Check it out.
All right. And for those fans of mine, as always, you can follow us at Halloween Year Round on Twitter or the website, HalloweenYearRound.com. And remember, until I see you again, every day, this is the part where you say, is Halloween.
is Halloween.
He's learning.
I really thought you were gonna say, "We're ready to believe you."
No, that's not our catchphrase.
Yeah.
Every day is Halloween. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Good night.